Gravital, how do I go about finding inspiration for campaigns? Man, everywhere. I think that my main inspiration is sort of episodic, like adventure and sort of sci-fi stuff that I grew up with. Like reading choose your own adventure books and Goosebumps, and I like short story collections. I really like uh, Chuck Palahniuk. He's one of my favorite authors for a long time. I haven't read him in a while, but he used to be probably still would be one of my favorites. I'd have to read some more again. Playing games, getting lots of ideas from blueprints. Been playing that most nights. One of the ideas that I'm sort of nursing right now is this sort of ocean based campaign. It's something that I haven't really touched, and when I think about seafaring campaign, I think about what it means to sort of maintain the ship, what it means to maintain the crew, and there's all sorts of dynamics and things that can happen there, as well as going from island to island, many interesting islands, and one thought that comes to mind is like Star Trek, right? Star Trek, you're on a ship, managing a ship, traveling from planet to planet. Same idea. Like when I think about how to go about interesting stories, I think episodically like that. I also think about like Wind Waker. Um, Lots of fun ideas there that might be a game that I would want to play if I was going to run a big long seafaring campaign. So those I need to add. I just need to have a I need to make some playlist links, because I think the really fun part about the R&D, the playthroughs, the game streams that I've been doing is that I try to flag anytime there's like a specific sort of tabletop or D&D insight. And for me, an insight could be like, well, this is an interesting mechanic, or there's something I'd like to address, or maybe this made me think of something. And sometimes those are ideas for things to be translated or inspired into tabletop games. So I flag those, and then I go back later when I finish when the games are done and try to timestamp them, so you can just like jump through the live recordings and see the parts where insights were discovered. But in terms of planning a campaign, like the one I'm thinking about right now, the seafaring one, I kind of think in terms of big ideas. Like what's the interesting big idea? And this is still relatively new for me because big ideas, like my first campaign, my big idea was around just like kind of an arc, what I would consider nowadays an arc, like just kind of an interesting story, a mystery that would unfold. That campaign didn't last for reasons that I don't think were about the story. Second campaign that I ran, or that I'm still running, the big idea was really just more big, fun fantasy adventures. That's not a very good big idea. So that campaign that I'm wrapping up probably this year, it feels a little bit more disjointed. The big idea of my most recent campaign that is also still running, um, that big idea was around building and then sort of fighting against a guild, like building a guild up to a certain amount of strength, and then discovering that there was a traitor at the top, in this case a lich, and then the rest of the campaign is about how to respond to this kind of evil force that's been built up. And that sort of anchored the whole campaign. When I think about a ship and the ocean and islands, right now the core nugget that's inspiring me is what if there was some sort of moral fulcrum that the party could be, the decisions the party makes could weigh into, right? These ideas aren't fully formed, but I like the idea of factions, maybe deities, maybe some sort of other forces in that region that almost amount to like islands being won over, or maybe being dedicated, or maybe being sacrificed, or maybe being anointed. There's some idea there, and it could just end up being a factional thing, like claiming islands or claiming spaces or selling off spaces. Like there's something about that that I find interesting, where you could have like this kind of big ocean board, and it's like what the party does actually sort of changes things in this region one way or the other. Um, and maybe that's the big idea, is that there is this kind of moral kind of seesaw, multi part, like kind of fulcrum back and forth that everything's hanging on. And when you take it all the way down to the campaign level where it's affecting, it's like, well, this now presents itself as factions. You know, who you take jobs from, who is left in command, or who is given different territories, claiming territories for their own, and what flag do they fly? Like maybe that's an idea. Maybe flying a flag is central. I haven't figured all of that out yet, but it's I think when I have that fully thought out, I'll be able to then take that concept and apply it to lots of different ideas, you know.